All right, guys, welcome back to the High School Star League 2017 playoffs. Thomas S. Wootton up 1-0 over Thomas Jefferson High School. It's Crusader Kitten with Ender L bringing you this best of three that's also brought to you in part by our friends at Twitch TV. Picks and bans underway, and we're seeing once again focus on those solo laners as we're having Riven, Jace, as well as Oriana and Fiora taken off the board.
Yeah, a lot of the same so far in the draft. Even the Graves, too, is remaining true to the game number one, how that went down. Now, coming into this match, I think the biggest flag we need to be looking out for is Thomas Jefferson and whether or not they draft three very weak early lanes again for themselves. Albeit they were able to win in the bottom lane with the Lulu Kog'Maw once they got some items under their belt, but I'd love to see them have the ability to have priority in their lanes and have some good matchups so that Dark X can not just come to lanes to stop them from dying, but to instead actually look to snowball an advantage for his team.
Oh my god. How did people let Zach through pick and ban still? First pick.
I don't know. Because Positivity loves his Jax.
Oh my god. Yeah, Positivity's like, I don't care. Whatever they pick, I'm picking Jax, and he does so. I mean, just to quote, the legendary Nintendo Dex, 2017 and your man is still letting Zach through pick ban. When are you going to wake up and see the light?
I don't know. Teams.
Positivity, what you doing?
I don't know. It could be the Zac that breaks Thomas S. Wootton right here, because the Gragas definitely didn't in game number one. It was not the thing of legends out of Dark X. It tried its best, but ultimately the entire team of Wootton was too good.
Getting through too. Honestly, like that's a matchup that's like an instant mute because their voice lines, it's just too much.
Yeah, so fun fact, I actually got to do a little bit of the testing of Xayah and Rakan, and that was one of the biggest complaints. And during testing, what we did, we literally had their voice lines on for every single player in the game, so that everyone could get a feel for if they were playing in that lane, and they would just not stop talking. I'm trying to take my Raptor camp, and they're just yelling in my ear about every which I had to. So no, it's too much.
It was like when like Amumu's like crying was like global and everyone could hear him cry.
Yeah, it was that, except instead of crying, it's just them, bragging about how they have this perfect relationship and everything, and they know I don't.
Oh man, yeah, I wonder what that feels like. So Jax, Galio, Callista picked up for Wootton. We'll just brush over that. Don't worry about it. Galio's gonna be in here. Callista as well. And we're now into the second fan phase.
Yeah, the only binding stronger than love of Xayah and Rakan is Callista and whoever she chooses to become hers. They don't even have the option. They don't have the choice.
True.
Oh, man.
We
usually see that champion picked up with something like a Braum or a Thresh in pro play just to be able to make plays. Actually, those are the two champions that have really solid matchups against the Rakan. These melee tanks that can try to stop him when he goes for the all-in and also just get a free pass in the lane phase, because that's clearly where Rakan's going to be his weakest.
Yeah, so going to be these mid lane focused bans coming in here, and a Janna band out is interesting coming out.
Yeah, so the Kassadin actually isn't a ban for the Galio in the mid lane that we were saying in the last game. It may be. It's just 5-word on the Kassadin, maybe a little bit ridiculous. His Cinder was good though, and they actually banned that themselves. So who knows? Who knows what's going on?
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how they decide to play against Positivity, picking up this Jax here once again, because he really did take over that game in that last one with that champion. And wow, look at that LeBlanc coming in, the response pick here from Thomas S. Wootton, and kind of taking that one away. Up against it though will be that Victor, and in the top lane will be a Kennen.
Ooh, okay, Nanook. So Nanook covered this in the last game. I actually would have liked to see it up against the Trundle, because I think that's a fantastic matchup for the on-hit Kennen specifically. But against the Galio, if you all remember back to MSI, the tournament that I was at, by the way, Huni's Galio absolutely crushed Haunter's Kennen. Is just so tanky in the early game and can just shove him in. So Nanook's going to be really challenged to do well in this matchup, to have a lot of pressure, at least early on. Once he gets 2 or 3 items under his belt, he should still be a split push monster, but if the game goes like it did last time around, Wootton won't ever let that be a possibility.
Yep, so team is finally locked in there as the Karma gets locked in, so it won't be that tanky front line support. Maybe they feel they have enough of a front line with Galio and Jack. It's going to be that Karma locked in.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I would have preferred to see, the Braum and the Thresh, as I mentioned, but if you run really fast at your enemies, you can kill them all the quicker, I guess, is going to be Wootton's strategy coming into this next match.
Yeah, we'll see how that all plays out when we get on into the Rift. We'll take a quick break during the spectator delay, and we'll be back with game number 2 of this match. Thomas says Wootton leads by 1. We'll be right back. And we're back getting onto the rift. Thomas S. Wootton up 1-0 over Thomas Jefferson in the High School Starlight 2017 playoffs. Crusader Kitten and Enderell bring you the games. Also brought to you by Twitch TV. So last game, we saw Wootton coming away with it after Positivity got rolling on that Jax, and he's picking it up again.
Yeah, and even though Positivity was a monster on the Jax, I was looking at the damage charts after the game. Sword actually did 3 times as much damage as the Jax on his Cinder. Not to take anything away from how Positivity played, because he was an absolute monster, but Sword was definitely the unsung hero in that game, and now he's on a LeBlanc, an even bigger playmaker than the Syndra, and I sort of worry for Cowinator in the mid lane, because if Sword gets a kill or 2 under his belt, he will just kill this Victor every single time he enters into the lane.
Yeah, I mean, on paper, you're just worried about Cowinator versus Sword to begin with. Sword sitting in Challenger at 389 LP, Cowinator just Diamond 3 there. It kind of pales in comparison, but he does have a 76% win rate on this Victor, so kind of a comfort pick, I would say, coming in for him here, as both of these junglers starting off at their Raptors.
Yeah, they both got incredibly quick Raptor clears, and Positivity actually did something interesting last game on the Jax. Because Jax doesn't have like the best early game ganks, it's very telegraphed. You have to get the E going, you have to flash on top of them. At that point, everyone already knows, like, you're coming in, you're gonna try to stun them. Positivity cleared his entire jungle, recalled very early on, and purchased a Chilling Smite for himself just to allow him to have that extra ability to stick on top of his opponents if he does want to look for any early aggression.
And we'll see if that does come down. Last game, First Blood was in that mid lane matchup between Cowinator and Sword. It was Sword picking it up, but he was on that Syndra back then. Now he's on the LeBlanc, so we'll see if things do switch up here. Bottom lane, Fuichu and Valencia, I'm actually pushing up on the duo of King of Shadows, and wow, I just already forgot to say his name. It only took a few minutes. Revolatile. There you go.
Yeah, Revolatile. Yeah. On the Xayah, not to be confused with Zyra. Very, very similar names right there.
Thank you.
You better look out.
I do.
Revolatile doesn't have similarities.
I can't wait for the day when the letter X is taught to kindergarten students using the word Xayah.
I mean, to be fair, there aren't a lot of X words, and I think xylophone is a little bit outdated. Who even plays the xylophone? There's not that many. A lot of people play Xayah.
Dang. Yeah, I think there's probably more Xayah players than there are xylophone players. I would have to agree with that.
Oh man.
Oh, the nuke getting taunted in that top lane race by Jace.
The nuke also stunned him. It's a battle of CC up in the top lane. Everyone's dishing it out.
For sure he is. Bottom lane continues to get pushed up. I mean, overall though, fairly close in terms of CS. Maybe some slight leads for Wootton here once again, but I mean, with all this pressure from this bottom lane, I'm sure that's the way it'll go. Sword here against Cowinator, continuing to trade on. Nice dodge there out of the Death Ray.
Yeah, Jefferson actually just pinged out the exact route Positivity took. They pinged Raptors, Red Buff, Wolves, Blue, Grump. In that order, that's exactly what Positivity cleared. So I think that goes back to the last game where he did the same exact thing, just sort of flipped around on the blue side. It's hard to say if Jefferson have a coach behind the scenes or just a friend that told him, hey, this is exactly the pathing he took, and they could sort of keep that in mind going into the next game, but they should expect this then.
Yeah, he did go back to reset as the flash into the middle lane. Positivity gets stunned up, though. And now he's going to go down in that First Blood caught in the gravity field.
That gank was butchered by Positivity. More deaths in the first 5 minutes of Game 2 than he had in the entirety of Game number 1 right there. Granted, he had a perfect KDA last time around, but yeah, Sword and Positivity both lost their flash too.
Dark Jack's able to get out.
And
back in! Sword gets the kill to return it. Dark X chasing after him. Can Sword get away? He's gonna get hit by that, but Dark X takes him down.
A comedy of errors in the mid lane. It's going every which way, and that Zaki was dirty. Just understanding that it can actually get back into range for the creep right there. Pull in, of course, the LeBlanc. Nicely done by him.
Bottom lane, King of Shadows forced to back away a bit here as the trading continues to get their root down onto Fuichu, though. They didn't want to chase after him, or Volatile getting hit.
Ow.
King of Shadows taking lots of damage from those spears that Fuichu throws, but Valencium now in trouble as Dark X comes through, teleport channeled, and will continue the channel, and he's going in. Sword's like, hey, I want to get some kills here too now. Gonna be able to back his way out of this one. Valencium gets taken out as they try to back away. Those feathers doing so much damage. And now onto Fuichu, turns it around. Sword gets taken out, or Sword takes out, I should say. Dark X, here's some payback, and he's in. That's a double kill in the bottom lane. Calvinator coming through. He has got the Chaos Storm. He's got the Death Ray for the damage. Takes down Fuichu.
Oh!
Top lane trading. The nuke. He's gone and erased by Jace.
What is happening, Crusader? Just like Game 1, there's fighting in every single lane at the same exact time. I mean, Sword, he was a little upset that we were sort of saying that he was the unsung hero. He wants to be the clear carry in this game. Got 3 kills right
like
there.
Sword,
Huge play.
They're like, Sword, can you play a supportive mid lane? He's like, no, LeBlanc.
Yeah, I'll support you by coming to your lane and killing your enemies. I'll do that much for you.
Yeah, 3-1, stacking up these kills here. Although there was a response to Calvinator that did net himself a kill for himself.
Yeah, I told you. Galio matchup not bad into Ken in early game.
Whoop. Dark X, hello.
He does no damage, though, so...
Goodbye.
I mean, Erasplay just can sort of walk out, no problem. And Sword has missed a lot of those chains, to be fair. If he's landing those chains, he's got at least 5 kills now.
At least 5.
At least 5, but
If
no
not
less
more.
than 10.
But no less than 10. Alright, that's a safe wager, I'd say. Valencium taking some trade damage here. Chaos Storm gets dropped down, backed away from Root going down. Sword just got taken up by Dark X. Meanwhile, bottom lane, Fuichu taken out by Revolatile. And that's some kills for Thomas Jefferson.
The bottom lane's still winning for Jefferson. Last game, they had there's more scaling combo. This time around, they've got the duo that everyone loves, and it's working for them even after the couple of kills that Sword was able to pick up. But that's the big difference, I guess, because Fuichu only had the 1 assist. Now Revolatile has 2 kills to his credit right now, and because they have pressure down bottom lane, Dark X is allowed to make plays happen. Is allowed to try and continue to shut down this LeBlanc, which he couldn't really do too much of last game.
Oh my gosh, Valencium gonna fall there and taken out by Revolatile, so he'll have a 3-0 start and has another strong start to his game like last game. And but the team's back. The team would be able to back him up this time. 2-1 scoreline on Dark X and Calvinator.
I've just seen that happen way too many times to supports. Valencium was trying to hold the way for his AD carry to come back and be okay, and it just doesn't work. You can't disrespect, especially the Rakan playmaking.
Bottom lane, turret falls, and so will Fuichu. King of Shadows gets his own, and they're just getting them down 1 by 1 in the bottom lane as middle lane Dark X coming forward. Can't get the CC quite down though, but they will still look to push this up. Dark X and Calvinator in this middle lane. Here's the response by Positivity.
Yeah, and this is showing us why Jax isn't a very good pick out of the jungle. Last game, every single lane won. That's great. He's allowed to power farm and absolutely crush the jungle matchup up against Dark X, but now he needs to do something for his team because mid lane is continuing to be pressured by Dark X. Bottom lane is getting absolutely manhandled in that matchup. They already lost their first turret, and that puts a lot of pressure on this Jax that can't really do much with his champion.
Dark X running into Valencium here, looking to take him out, exhausting the Calvinators. Valencium looks to back away and will be able to. So
I'm not really sure why Dark X didn't use the ultimate right there, because he could have pulled Valencium in towards Calvinator and given her no escape pathways. A little bit odd.
Top lane's been a bit of an island here, but trading coming out once again, and it's erased by Jace that has the advantage up here. He's leading in CS and also has that first early kill that he picked up. But other than that, it's been an island. Top lane island has never been more remote
Yeah, well, I mean, let's talk about the top lane right now. I've said the Galio matchup is good for the Galio, but I haven't exactly said why. And it wouldn't make a lot of sense why this tank that's meant to stack magic resistance has such a good matchup up against a carry, a Kennen that loses pretty much no lanes and builds pure attack damage in its current state. But really, Kennen still does a fair amount of magic damage with his on-hit portion of his W and all of his spells still, and that means that Erased by Jace on the Galio doesn't necessarily have to build MR still because he gets that free magic resistance shield, and he's allowed to have pretty much dual resistances when building purely armor, and a Frozen Heart specifically, which just completely shuts down what a Kennen is trying to do by getting out a lot of attacks to get his stuns out more frequently.
Top lane may not be an island anymore. I think the settlers of Thomas S. Wootton may have found it a bit, but they're actually going to return to the middle lane that's being pressured by Thomas Jefferson High School. We're going to push this one down. Valencia taking some damage as he enters. Means pushing in here.
Yeah, just bring pressure to this LeBlanc lane, and you can stop her from roaming.
Yeah. Blanc returns to that middle lane, and so will quite a few members of Wootton High School. Down on gold here early by 2,600. And they may be down by more after this second turret goes down. Jefferson looking to have the only 2 turret kills on the board. Wootton looking to change that, but here's a dive in under the flash for the Let's Bounce. He takes up 2. The Galio ultimate coming across though, but the taunt traps them under the turret, and now they will be able to pick up 2 kills from this. Thomas S. Wootton coming away with that, taking advantage of that dive. Sword going in, backing off though, and now the double coming in from Fuichu. Featherstorm coming across, gets 1, but can't get anybody else here. Oh, yes, he can. A double kill for Revolatile, able to survive with a sliver of health.
Still, just a terrible decision from Jefferson to dive that mid lane tower. At the rate it was going, they were going to secure that objective, and Nanook didn't have teleports. That entire time was a 5 versus 4 underneath the tower, so down in gold, down 3,000 gold after the fight. It should have been more before it. Wootton were still able to win out in that team fight and get some much needed gold over to Fuichu on his Callista.
Yeah, he gets a double kill. The Revoltol gets a double kill. Both of these AD carriers are going to be able to stack up on some more gold here, but in the end, turret will remain, and a nice win there by Wootton High School as we say, Jefferson just overextending a bit there under that turret. So they have to think twice before they want to do another of those kinds of plays. Dragon's up right now to Notion Drake. Haven't seen any of those taken down so far this game. And we'll see if both teams start to contest for it. But yeah, I mean, I think Thomas Jefferson definitely have all the momentum going into this game so far. They're the driving force right now.
Yeah, Wootton are going to sacrifice the dragon for a dive in the top lane.
Yeah, top lane here. Positivity is around the area, and they're going to be able to finish off that top lane turret. But as you say, they will lose this Ocean Drake. They'll just get that one over to Jefferson. But hey, it's your first turret for an Ocean Drake. That's a nice pickup there. And now moving over to this Rift Herald. Will Jefferson contest it? I'm not sure. King of Shadows trying to go in here. A little bit ahead of himself, but he's Rakan. He's able to dash away.
Yeah, Wootton don't care about sustain of an Ocean Drake right now. Neither of these comps are really built with the goal of sieging in mind. Wootton really just need the gold in the here and now to try and keep up with the pressure that Jefferson is continuing to apply on them, and is not going to stop anytime soon, because if they just keep taking away camps from this scaling, this hard farming jungler, Positivity's impact on this game is going to be so minimal that it's almost going to feel like 4 versus 5s in these team fights, with a full DPS Jax trying to jump onto a Xayah that can completely self-peel herself. Nanook too on the Kennen does very much the same thing, and obviously the Jax isn't applying much wave clear either, so just have to start asking yourselves, what is this pick out of the jungle really doing for Wootton's lineup?
Switch up in the lanes, as you'll see as turrets start to fall. Thomas Jefferson High School and Thomas S. Wootton going to be sending over their dual lanes off to roam, and the top laners, Nanook and Erased by Jace, will be in the bottom lane now. And they're seeing both duos Looking around the map here, middle lane is being pushed out by Thomas S. Wootton's duo, and lots of pings here on the mini map here as King of Shadows inside the brush, possibly waiting for someone in the shadows, but the scary Wraith pops out. He sees him.
Yeah, if these lanes do go into the 1-3-1s like they are right now, Wootton are definitely going to be happy with that. They can pressure side lanes a whole lot better than they can group up at the moment, and Jefferson are just sort of allowing this to happen. They almost need to just group up around this LeBlanc and, you know, maybe sacrifice some damage on their mid lane turret to make sure that they can get out of this odd lane allocation that they don't really want to be in.
Two-man push in the middle lane right now. Cowinator gonna be waiting in the brush there. And now they want to turn it around onto him. 3 members roaming in here. Positivity coming up with that stun under the turret. The damage coming in isn't quite enough to finish him off, though. As top lane, the turret falls. As King of Shadows and Volatile just pushed it down in front of Sword. Bottom lane, once again, erased by Jace, coming up with those trades. Middle lane still getting pushed up by Wootton, but they're backing away as the duo of Jefferson comes through. So that's a turret kill for Jefferson. And they don't lose anything for themselves there.
Yeah, even if Wootton got the kill onto Cowinator, they still probably wouldn't have been able to take that middle lane tower. So Jefferson did a very nice job of leaving the victor mid lane. Yes, Cowinator's positioning was quite suspect right there, but he got out. He was able to clear the wave and keep the turret alive, while the rest of his team continued to get objectives around the top half of the map.
Yep, so that is going to go down here 17 minutes in. Picked up last game. We didn't see the Rift Herald use too much effect. We'll see if that changes where Volatile is going to be the one that actually picks it up here. So we'll have to keep an eye on that Xayah. See where she takes it.
Yeah, Xayah's going to have the rest of her team grouping around her, so it sort of makes sense to put it on her. Jungler, too, you could have dropped it onto Dark X. Really, though, it matters less with the current state of the Rift Herald, who you put it on, and how your team plays around whoever does pick it up, because the most optimal usage of that objective is going to be to try and out-rotate your opponents. Try to find a lane in which only 1 or 2 people are defending a turret to end up putting that down, and with how the game's been going so far, that's exactly how Jefferson have been playing it.
Want to know a fun fact? Oh, no you don't, because Valencium's getting bursted down here. And maybe back the other way. King of Shadows executed before the redemption can save him. Meanwhile, bottom lane, pushed by Positivity. He's grouping up here once again, but they get a nice pick onto the Rakan there.
That's not what you want to have happen. King of Shadows went super aggressive right there, trying to find a pick, but there's still an exhaust, a heal, the Fate's Call too. All of these tools to try and peel away from the engage potential of that Rakan. And look at your mini-maps right now. Both side lanes are being pressured really, really hard by Wootton solo laners.
And yep, we're seeing Wootton all over the map right now here, putting pressure on all 3 lanes, even though they're behind 3,000 gold. It just feels like they have the control here as they're pushing in all 3. Sword is looking to take down this top lane turret. He'll do some decent damage to it. And here's a response. Dark X in that middle lane. Meanwhile, Volatile going it on to Sword. Can't find him up in that snare, so Sword is able to use his flash to get out.
Still a lot of pressure being dealt here. And Jefferson do not want to be reacting to plays that are being made by Wootton. That's not how this game goes well for them. There's a lot of scaling from Wootton's side. We mentioned the Jax. The Kalista, too, is only going to increase in her power levels the later this game does progress. And with the game stalling out ever since the Rift Herald was taken, we still have yet to see what Jefferson want to do with that objective, with that buff that they can place down in any lane. Jefferson are gonna have to decide where and what they need to do to try and accelerate and maybe force Wootton to fight them 5-on-5.
Now, pressure around this Infernal Drake. Thomas Jeffersons are the first ones to it. And now they'll be sitting on it as King of Shadows and Cowinator are looking to win in those wings there, but won't be able to as sitting on a ward. Sword comes in onto Cowinator. Dragon secured by Thomas Jefferson. And now here's the fight, taking down Sword early. Cowinator with the burst. Positivity jumping in with the stun onto 2. And Fuichu is stacking up on the damage here. And there's the knockup, though, coming around. Can they get this one down? I don't think they can. Thomas Jefferson's going to fall here. Thomas S. Wootton, double kill by True. And he has more here as this Zach is going to go down. That's the triple kill and a 5-for-2 for Wootton High School.
The start of that fight looked so good for Jefferson, too. Calendar got jumped on, but he escaped, and Sword got immediately bursted down, even with the hero's entrance on top of the LeBlanc. But during all of that, Positivity was able to flank around, absorb even more pressure, and all the while, Fuichu was stacking up those rend marks, made it very easy just to pull the trigger on that ability and clean up that team fight.
Yep, so now middle lane turret's gonna fall. So even though the Infernal Drake went over to Jefferson, end up going down 5-for-2. Gonna lose 2 turrets here as Sword is pushing this middle or bottom lane one out. And now they're gonna lose the goal lead officially because of that, just down by about 300. And we'll see what effect it has. Now,
these teams placing the Rift Herald in their base. I don't get it. Yes, I know in this case the buff was about to die, but they're not doing anything with it. They're sieging mid lane, and it could be another bad fight they're about to take.
Yeah, there is lots of action here in middle lane. Flash forced out by Fuichu. 5 members of Thomas Jefferson High School stacking it up here. Raced by Jay Scanlan. A ton of Revolatile. Now they want to go in, but the Charm coming in. Sword once again bursted down. Revolatile on the side trying to get away. Fuichu's going in, but he's caught out all by himself now, getting chased away all by his lonesome. He's going to be able to escape for now as Thomas Jefferson look to turn their sights back over to this middle lane turret.
Sword needs to play a lot more respectfully for Jefferson. That's the second little engagement that he's been immediately bursted in, and the redemption is going to allow Jefferson to continue to siege.
It's going to allow Dark X to get into that back line as well. Fuichu goes down, gets shut down by Calinator, and now this middle lane turret's going to fall, but Positivity wants to come in and save it. Will be able to as the turret stays alive with the response from Wootton coming off of the death timers from the base.
Yeah, and it wasn't even like there was a kill that Positivity was able to pick up right there. I'm really confused by why he was in the top lane in the first place. That's who Jefferson, or Wootton rather, sent to clear away the Rift Herald. Then, by the time he made it to the mid lane after Sword had died, he recalled immediately, giving another opportunity for his team to be dove upon. It was just a 4 versus 5 that entire time for Wootton, and had he been around, it could have been a very different story with the threat of him jumping on and stunning one of Jefferson's carries. It could have been enough to thwart that dive attempt by Jefferson.
Well, he did just finish up his Trinity Force, I believe, like right before that fight, so he might have gone back to possibly pick up that item power spike. But yeah, that middle lane turret falling dangerously close to getting taken out there, but going to be remaining standing here. And that Trinity Force finished up on Positivity is going to be a scary one to look after. He's leading by 50 CS right now over his opponent.
That's pretty massive, you'd have to say. It's a good job right now, but still, it's Wootton after the events underneath that tower that are pressuring on this map. And once more, Jefferson have to start off a play. It's really up to Dark and King of Shadows too on those playmaking characters to force something onto the 3 men that are going to be grouping up for Wootton in the mid lane.
And lots of pinks here in this middle lane as Valencium and Erased by Jace are just hanging around here. Thomas Jefferson looking... I really want to start things up, but once again, lane's being pressured in. Top lane is being pushed out currently by Sword. Meanwhile, Fuichu was just finished up clearing out a lot of minions in that bottom lane. So, once again, Wootton's got all these 3 lanes going right now.
Yeah, definitely a much slower game than the game 1 we experienced. Maybe Jefferson not knowing quite as well as how to close out a game with the advantage. Because, of course, last game, they were the comp. That was looking to scale into the later parts of the game, and they're sort of in that same mindset where it's okay, we can go ahead and farm out, make it later on. We have a lot of wave clear with the Victor, the Kennon's going to be a beast, Xayah too is working on her Infinity Edge at the same time, but I don't think you want to take that chance against a school, against a team that's so good as Wootton.
Valencium, though, going to be caught off here, able to flash over that wall to escape. Very scary spot for him.
Fuichu is right there with the Fate's Call. I'm not sure if the flash was absolutely necessary. Just like the slicing maelstrom bottom lane, not necessary.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting taken out even still with it, so.
I just don't know why you'd pop that when you're both at 100% HP, but that's just me.
Middle lane turret did fall as Jefferson High School are pushing onto the inhibitor now, so not feeling the pressure of those side lanes. That's where Sword was this whole time, so they're going to lose. They're going to be able to take down those turrets. Jumping in is Positivity, and the heroic entrance by race by Jace, but in the back line already is the damage. The Featherstorm coming across the route onto Positivity. The nuke takes him down, and now he charges forward, has the damage with that cannon. That's already one member down, but Volatile gets bursted down. A double kill coming out from the LeBlanc there. Sword trying to push forward here.
That was sick from Sword. He got the distortion to get a lot of stacks of the passive, then popped him with the mark, and he's still looking for more.
Yeah, he's saying you kill me twice in two top fights, I'll just kill the rest of your team. Fuichu trying to jump in there, though. Forced to back away. As both parties are doing a lot of damage to each other. Cowinator's back up and running. The nuke here as well. Infernal Drake's been started up, but there's no jungler present for either of these teams. Galio, though, flash, the double taunt coming in, and they will take down both. That's two members down, and this is going to be the Infernal Drake for Wootton.
Yep, so nicely done from Wootton to keep Jefferson in the area. King of Shadows was actually recalling during that, so it was really just a 2 versus 4, and now they have the Jax. They don't even need the Jax, the Smite, because Fuichu on this Kalista is so good at securing objectives. There's just going to be no chance for Dark to get in there and steal it unless Jefferson look for a 3 versus 5.
Yeah, they're going to start this one up here, so Wootton look like they may be starting to take some control here after getting that Infernal Drake and those pick-off kills. Now looking over to this Baron, and they're going to get it. They're going to get it uncontested here.
Really, really poor with the Rend and the Smite. Both of them missed the last hit, but there was no contest. It could have been Dark's opportunity to get in there for the Smite, and even though Jefferson were able to get that inhibitor tower, it was Sword and Fuichu, they all just running down the straggling members of Jefferson to turn this one around really in their favor. Now is with the Baron buff, the 1-3-1, the split push composition just escalates so hard here in their threat level and their ability to just open up the map.
So this is going to be 15-17, the scoreline in favor of Wootton, as they've been able to pick up the goal lead here once again, but not by much. It's been going back and forth between these two teams. Jefferson still has the advantage in towers right now, but I think Wootton have really just started to take control of this game in the past 10-15 minutes or so. They really started to be the ones that were driving this game forward, and we're seeing it here. So we're about to reach this 28-minute mark or 29-minute mark. And once again, with this Baron buff, they'll be able to put pressure on all three of these lanes as they've been trying to do all this entire game. Sword trying to trade with Cowinator. Look at the damage from the burst of these two carries, but getting knocked out is going to be Sword as help came from Dark X on the side. You're going to lose this top lane turret, though.
That's a very important pick-off for Jefferson. Yes, they do lose the tower, but that stalls out a minute of Wootton's Baron buff right there, that they were only able to secure that one inner turret for themselves. So nicely done by them. And I think Jefferson realized that it's maybe better to pick on the 1 or 2 members split pushing in side lanes at the moment rather than trying to engage onto Wootton, because just trying to kill this Kalista at this point in the game is going to be nigh impossible through the Jace, the defensive tools of the Karma as well. And now Fuichu has reached those 3 coveted items on the Kalista, the Blade of the Ruin King, the Runon's Hurricane, and the Bloodthirster, the very classic Kalista build that has stuck around ever since she was very popular upon her release. I've sort of drifted into being a fan of the Death's Dance rather than the Bloodthirster. Bloodthirster just isn't really an item you see all too often, but we may be seeing a Death's Dance coming around very soon with another Vamp Scepter in the pockets of Fuichu.
So now pressure coming out from Wootton as they have the Baron buff active for just a bit longer, but they'll be able to use it, continue to push your middle and bottom lane is where they have the pressure going. Dark Jax on the other side of the wall looking to engage. Positivity finds him out. Looks to pressure him away here. So these two teams just continue to try to swing this game back and forth here. The momentum continues to just switch between the two of these teams. Thomas Jefferson versus Thomas S. Wootton. Wootton already up 1-0 here in the best of 3. If they win this, they would move on to the semifinals. Jefferson are looking to force a game 3. So, 30 minutes now. And unfortunately, going to have a pause come through because we are experiencing some technical difficulties on the side of one of these teams. So, we're just going to have some more time to kill here, Ender L, as these two teams square off.
Yeah, can wait, enjoy our very tinted view of the Summoner's Rift. Both teams actually got Infernal Drakes. We didn't really have a whole lot of time to talk about that. The Infernal was picked up for Wootton right after they had really turned around the game, right around that objective when Cowinator and Nanook basically waltzed in and killed themselves for the greater good. Wasn't really anything they gained for it, but they did end up losing that objective, and the game is just going to get worse and worse for them. I really do feel like as time goes on, Fuichu is going to be working on, whatever he wants to build out of that Vampiric Scepter, make himself even less likely to be killed. There's going to be another item coming through from Valencia. That's going to be an Ardent Sensor, so this Callista is going to be attacking even faster and faster and faster, and I just don't know if Jefferson can really hold up against that.
Yeah, and of course the Ardent Sensor just really helps out with that redemption with that latest change. Does heal and shield power ups have 3 times the effect on redemption's heal, so that just gives a massive boost to your redemption in terms of healing up your team.
We can just go ahead and hover over that. Since it's a pause, we can go ahead and read everything about redemption. Look at some of the other changes too.
Half effect if the target has been affected by another redemption already. So, that's why you can't stack redemptions. They're just not as effective.
King of Shadows also got another changed item. The Lock of the Iron Solari. The shield now scales with the additional health that you build on your character. So actually rushing that item is a lot worse. Redemption 2 on the Rakan doesn't make a whole lot of sense, I don't feel, because the shield you get out of it is substantially weaker until you get more of those items. And right now it feels like King of Shadows is almost stuck in that patch 7.11 build rather than going for that new 7.12 where we've seen a lot of more people, going for a Knight's Vow or other different early items, not necessarily just the exclusivity that the Redemption and Locket have been receiving on all these patches ever since they were added to the game.
Yep, so this game remains to be slowed down by both of these teams here, as it really is just so close. And Valencian getting caught out and taken out by Revolatile. Would they actually want to engage here? Sword was channeling the teleport, opted to cancel it.
Yeah, there is still Sword down there in the bottom lane. It looks like Jefferson just want to make that rush for the inhibitor.
Erased by Jace, in trouble, trying to get out, can't get out of the gravity field in time. Ends up getting stunned up by the cannon as well here. So much CC on this Galio, flashing over that wall. Will be able to escape. Gargoyle's Stoneplate, I think, helping him out there quite a bit as well. But middle lane inhibitor, it looks like they may just let it fall here as Sword continues to push bottom line, and I think they're just saying, hey, we want to win a 4v5 anyway. We'll just let them lose it. Hopefully Sword, and he is able to take down that bottom lane in a turret, so get something in exchange, but a nice pick for Jefferson. Gives them the inhibitor.
Yeah, I'm a little confused why Jefferson are leaving the mid lane and going towards the top half of the map, because Dragon is going to be the next objective. We can look at that. It'll be a Cloud coming up soon, and we might see an engage.
Trying to get onto Revolatile, and they will. The stuns for him, but he has a lot of backup, and Nuke getting taken down by Sword in the bottom lane. Meanwhile, they're trying to fight in this narrow part of the jungle right here. Redemption coming in, but doesn't heal up much as Sweetshow takes down Keeps the Shadows. Dark Axe is going out as well.
Sword's coming around.
My Torsus form. Positivity taking down Cowinator. The kills coming across. The ace coming in. Thomas S. Wootton take down the entire team.
And that might give them just enough time to press for the victory right here. There was already a teleport coming out from Erased by Jay. Sword is just tanking the towers. They're all tanking the towers, making the last-ditch effort to run in towards Jefferson's base. There's still 10 seconds on the nuke, 20 on the rest of their team. They might not have enough time to defend.
Well, King of Shadows is about to respawn here as well, but it's a 2v4 against two of the members with probably the least utility to possibly help to try and protect this base right here. That's the first Nexus turret. Respawn time is ticking down here, and actually I don't think they can end it, so they instead just opted to finish off the inhibitor, take the turret, and back off.
Yeah, there will be a Baron coming up in 30 seconds, and both teams are going to be equally equipped to fight for it. They both have a chance to go get some vision for themselves, unless King of Shadows can try and pick someone off here. But with one inhibitor down for both of these teams too, you have to really feel like this next fight around the Baron is going to be the one that almost decides the outcome of this game.
Yep, so we have finally Wootton coming away with such a big goal lead now. Here we're at 5,000 is what they're sitting at, so they've been expanding that, building upon it. There, 2 turrets up, and a Baron trap is going to be coming out from Thomas Jefferson. Want to catch somebody off? It's going to be Valencium that they target. They hit him with the elastic slingshot with the damage, but Volatile takes him down. Once again, they've just been hunting down Valencium here on that Karma.
Yeah, and
they return back to the trap.
They want to look for a pick.
Yeah, they're looking to catch somebody off here, seeing if they can, just hovering around this Baron pit.
Yeah, both teams just waiting for the super minions to apply pressure, so Jefferson are going to act. Now it is possible for a 4 vs 5 team fight win, but Fuichu is still in base.
Yeah, Fuichu not out here just yet. Sword going to the wall to scout it out. Erased by Jace, hopping in here himself. Positivity's over the wall. He's in it, but it's secured by his son and Thomas Jefferson, and now they burst down Positivity. They take him down. They turn around. They charm up Sword. Sword trying to run out, and he might be able to. The flash in, and Cowinator cuts him down. Sword loses his edge there, as now they move in, but Super Minions pushing in on their base right now. Someone has to back, or do they want to keep pressuring?
Yeah, it looks like Wootton are going to be able to clear away the waves, but inside the base of Jefferson, they lose one turret. There's so many minions there, and that forces back Cowinator.
And now, fighting outside of the base here. Huge minion wave down in this bottom lane will help them push this up. Thomas Jefferson take down this turret. They've got Baron buff going for them. 4 members shoving. Cowinator is down in the middle lane, clearing out. Cowinator is down in the base, clearing out the minions from the top lane. And this bottom lane inhibitor turret. There's 3 lanes. That's 3 too many. 3's a crowd. It's gonna go down. They back away.
Yeah, all because Valencium got picked off before the Baron buff spawned. Huge mistake. A huge mistake out of him, because
put it on Valencia.
Yeah, I mean, if he doesn't die right there, you're looking at Wootton still getting the Nexus turret inside the base. Then all of a sudden, Jefferson can't really do the Baron, or they have to risk 5 vs 5 team fighting around it, or they lose their base, or maybe even both if they don't come ahead in that team fight victory. But as it stands, again, Jefferson haven't won themselves the game. We're still dead even in gold. So my prediction that the fight around the Baron was going to end it all didn't end up coming true because of the super minions flooding in towards Jefferson's base. But Wootton are going to have to take that second lease on life here if they want to close out this series cleanly with a 2-0.
Yeah, and this is really coming down to the wire between these two teams now, as the kill scores is 21-22, tower scores 7-8. Both teams have cracked open one inhibitor, and now they're starting to respawn though, and the pressure is coming in from the top lane wave of Wootton High School. We're getting late on into this game. Full build starting to come through for both of these teams here, and we're seeing the supports being like, "Oh man, our item slots are filling up." But they will always have the one item slot dedicated to the control ward, because, you know, it's just so fun.
Unless you're Valencium.
Unless you're Valencium. He just opened it up, though. He just opened it up, though, so we'll be good here.
Oh, boy.
A just finished up for him. Same for King of Shadows.
We might be waiting another 4 or 5 minutes for the next Baron buff to spawn, because it doesn't feel like Jefferson want to try their luck. They know that, I guess there's potential for a backdoor. There's really not. The Nexus is going to take too long to kill, and it's not like their base is completely exposed. Someone would have to come in through the top lane. That one would likely be Sword, but they just need an excuse to almost go for a team fight now, it really does feel like, because they can't enact pressure in multiple lanes. They don't have a good split pushing comp, but they also don't have a lot of good ways to engage fights outside of, you know, King of Shadows going in with the bounce.
Yeah, I'm trying to catch off Valencium there once again. He may be forced to actually just completely back to base. He was forced to flash out, though, that's for sure. Thomas S. Wootton pressuring still around the turrets as they have 2 lanes pushing for them right now as they're all spread out across this top half of the map.
Yeah, the Baron buff has gone away for now, and Fuitu did just finish his Mercurial Scimitar, so now that even shuts down King of Shadows even more if he wanted to use the quickness to land a taunt on board. And because Sword is split pushing in the top lane and pulling Cowinator away from the mid lane, you know, it could be a situation in which there's not nearly enough wave clear from Jefferson to keep that tower alive, but we will have to keep tabs on the Elder Dragon, which should be the next big neutral objective to spawn up.
Oh my god, so many pings because they're trying to catch out. Erased by Jace. He's Galio, though. Able to justice punch his way out of that situation.
Yeah, he's kind of tanky. He's got, you know, a few tank items at this point. I wonder how, oh boy, Nanook.
Oh, Nanook caught out backing.
Oh,
he got caught backing and Sword takes him out.
That could be enough to just waltz into the base, Wootton, if they want to, because you know Sword is going to be in the top lane pressuring that inhibitor, and there's a wave about to be crashing in towards the bottom lane. As soon as the rest of Wootton get here, they can just brute force in on towards some of these towers.
In his own jungle, Nanook getting taken down, and now pressure by Sword on this top lane. Pressure by the rest of the team on the bottom half as they're looking to take down this inhibitor turret. They're going to continue with that.
Yeah, the wave down here is going to be crashing.
Oof.
Oh, boy.
Oh, man. Sword jumping back there, trying to catch off for Volatile. Sword now getting low, but the flash in, the taunt onto 2. But the gravity field's going to come up big there to delay that. But now they'll just get started on taking down this inhibitor turret. Following inhibitor turret does go down. Wootton High School taking it. And now the inhibitor, they take it down. King of Shadows trying to go in. That can't get a knockup. But Volatile's coming in with the damage by himself here. Doing some damage. Gets the root down to Valencia. Erased by Jace. Gets the taunt down onto 4. And he may just be the sacrifice right here. Thomas S. Wootton gonna give him up, but they did take down that inhibitor.
Yeah, it looked like maybe some miscommunication right there, because Sword actually teleported into the middle lane of all places rather than going down bottom to reinforce his team, or even onto the ward that's inside currently of Jefferson's base. Had he kept his TP, he could have threatened a back door potentially in 40 seconds when the Baron does spawn, and we'd assume many members of Jefferson would be in the area. But now 35 seconds still left on the Galio. It could be Jefferson's turn to try and take some inhibitors for themselves. Oh wait, Sword, he's going for the base, I think.
Oh my god, Sword is gonna go
they
inside.
Just spotted him.
It's
They're
an
recalling.
exposed Nexus.
Can they cancel the backs?
Exposed Nexus, no Nexus turrets. And now they're trying to back here Positivity, trying to get back in time. He can't get back in time to cancel out those backs, but he gets that Nexus down to half health. And that's gonna be an option on the team over there. Oh, he went back there trying to go for it, but Cowinator takes him down. That Sword down for 61 seconds. And that might be a very risky play that goes wrong for Thomas S. Wootton. Sword still down, and now focusing on this Baron, they're gonna start it up.
Yeah, Positivity might have to go for a steal, but if he goes for a steal and then dies, it is almost assuredly game with the mid lane inhibitor already down. Sword still is down for 40 more seconds, so it could just be a Elder Dragon trade for this.
Quick, someone put a ward in base, and Erased by Jace will take it down.
Oh boy, I mean, he's going to take a long time to do it, and I don't know, Wootton are going to try and take this, but it's not going down all too quickly.
Yep, so Baron buff now on Thomas Jefferson. Wootton still on the Elder Dragon. It's just below half health this entire time.
What is Valencium doing?
And oh, Valencia bit caught out there. Cowinator takes him down. They turn around, wanting to go for a fight here. On the back line, King of Shadows gets the knockup, chasing after Fuichu. Fuichu left hung out to dry here as King of Shadows with volatile. Dark X chase after him. They pop the GA. He's down. And that will be Fuichu getting shut down out of the game now. Erased by Jace Low, but they just shut down Cowinator. These picks all over the map. What is going on here?
There's individual members from both of these teams not on the same page. The communication is just not here for either of the Thomases. It's still a 4 versus 3, though, in favor of Jefferson, but now they don't have a major player on their team. Cowinator, the magic damage, the consistent DPS is going to be down, and because of the lack of him, because of the lack of minions, it still will not be a victory for Jefferson.
Top lane turret's going to fall, and so will the inhibitor. Jefferson able to pick up the objectives from that, so they definitely come out with the advantage off of that, picking up their second inhibitor there. So 2 are now down, and also that top lane turret falling down to the minions here. But yeah, just such a strange game from both of these teams there after such a nice win from Wootton. It is so messy between these two teams.
I mean, it's getting down to the point where these team fights take so long that it's almost impossible for either side to get a clean ace, because neither will fully commit to it if they see things going haywire. But it's also at that point where individual members will get exploded if they're not positioned alongside the rest of your team. We saw it with Valencia, we saw it with Cowinator, even Sword, who was trying to go into the base to kill the Nexus, heavily overestimated what he'd be able to do to that objective and stuck around way too long on a champion that should be able to, get in and get out relatively quickly. He's got to be able to get a little more tame in this game, because he's died 7 times on this LeBlanc, and we know that in the last game he was a major reason, a major factor to why his team was able to win. And if he's going down when they're not even fighting or before the fights even start, his team is put in a very, very weakened position.
I don't know about you, Andrew. I think this the high school region could be a pretty good wildcard region for Riot.
I mean, yes, in some ways, no, in some other ways, but we'll just leave that at that.
So now it's gold advantage.
Brother Cowinator. Brother Valencium.
And just the gold advantage just swung back here for Jefferson High School. I'm so interested to look at the gold graph when this game is over, because the lead has just changed so many times. Now we're seeing here inhibitors start to respawn, and teams will look to crack open the base once again. But it's 46 minutes is what we're at right now, and this game is in it. We're in it for the long haul here.
Yeah, I'm just amazed that both supports have full 6 items, but neither top laner has been able to finish off their 6th right now. Like, what world is that supposed to happen? I don't know.
I have no idea. They're getting very close to finishing it up, though. And some more armor for Erased by Jace. Hey, does he need more tank items? Apparently he does so, because shredding down the team has been volatile. You're 10-3 and 8. These score lines are getting massive here. And oh my gosh, hold up. Positivity. Has he Flame Horizons Dark X at all this game? Because he's very close to it right now. He's at 90 over.
I haven't been following that exactly, but
I don't know.
He's doing well for himself. We'll say that.
He's very close to it, though. It might have already happened.
Yeah, there's a lot of minion pressure, too, that's about to mount. I mean, Jefferson can just sort of waltz up here into the top lane and force that final team fight. Not even around a neutral objective, or, there are going to be inhibitors respawning relatively soon as well that they could pressure themselves.
I don't know. I think the only Flame Horizon I've ever seen has been in the high school Starlight this season is from a jungler, so maybe it'll happen again. But what's more important is these top lane structures going down. Positivity wants to go in, trying to get that stun down. Look at all the knockups coming in. Fuichu's in the back line. Cowinator being chased after Sword takes him out. Revolto's still alive though. Positivity gonna fall, and now the knockups coming in the back line once again. Dark X is gonna go down. Positivity trying to do what he can. Suns up Revolto, but these AD carries both still alive, trying to take down the other members of the team. It's just a 2 for none, though. One by Wootton, but they can't do much because they have to defend their base.
Yeah, they have to clear away these minion waves, and then maybe they can go for some power play. That's a double teleport.
teleport by Sword, teleport by Erase by Jace as well. They want to turn this around into a 2v3 right now. Sword getting some damage. The double taunt gonna land, but Erase by Jace taking some. Sword trying to back away, and Erase by Jace is trying to be the tank to stall them off, as you say. Trying to get the rest of the team back into this one as well. Sword over the wall, trying to get in. But Flash the taunt, Flash different positivity. Can't get the stuns off. Volatile though gets knocked up by the Justice Punch. He's under the turret now though. Erased by Jace continues.
What is going on?
Oh my gosh, this fight. King of Shadows down to Fuichu. Volatile still alive, but finally taken out after
Cowinator just respawned. That's how long this is lasting. And look at the super minions inside Wootton's base.
Yeah, but Wootton, though, they're trying to force it into the game here. They're inside the base. The inhibitor's going down. The nuke is
inside
the base, on the Nexus, trying to end it. But there's 4 members for Wootton on the Nexus of Thomas Jefferson, and they push it down, and they win it all. They move on to the semifinals.
What just happened? That was insane. Wootton stalled for so long. Erased by Jace just would not go down, would not go 6 feet under right there, and allowed enough time for the rest of Wootton to catch up. It was a last-ditch effort. Nanook knew that there was no way to fight once they had lost Volatile and went into the base, but a tragic loss for Jefferson because they were set up to win this game 20 minutes ago, and it just stalled out long enough that Wootton was able to win in a desperate attempt.
Yeah, and absolutely just an insane call right there. Hey, you two go 2v3 them. Sword was so dangerously close to going down there, but playing that LeBlanc so well, getting all over the map. They're all over inside that jungle, and Erased by Jace was like, hey, I'll just tank this for days. He was at 6 items at that point, so that will be Thomas S. Wootton taking Thomas Jefferson down 2-0, and probably one of the more exciting games that we've seen here for the High School Star League playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, that was do or die for Thomas S. Wootton right there. To imagine if they were not able to pick up the kills onto Volatile and King of Shadows. If they had not done that, then all of a sudden it's still a 5 versus 5. They're underneath towers. Everyone from Jefferson was respawning, and then you have the teleport from the nuke going into the base. At that point, there's no one that can recall freely to defend, and they would have lost the game right then and there. So it was a coin flip, but they called heads. It was heads, and they were able to get the 2-0 victory.
Yep, and now Thomas S. Wootton, they'll be the team that's going up against the #1 seed Harvard Collegiate Institute in the semifinals. So our semifinal matchups are locked in. It'll be Harvard Collegiate Institute versus Thomas S. Wootton. And on the other side, it's Montville Township versus Garden Grove. Those are your top 4 for the High School Star League. Of course, you can check our website for all the info on these playoffs, lol.hslleague.com. It's all on the bottom right of your screen as well. Follow us on Twitter and here on Twitch for more updates of when we'll be streaming that. Ender, that's all we have for us tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in to the High School Star League. We'll see you all next time.